Hi guys, and welcome today. I'm with Rogan, semi-professional footballer out in Australia. So welcome, Rogan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Al.
Awesome, no problem. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell us who you are, name, age and position, mate.
So I'm Rogan McGeorge. I'm 28 and I play centre midfield.
28, moves like a 21-year-old.
I was about to say that, yeah. I was about to say that. I don't think I moved like a 21-year-old when I was 21.
Doesn't matter what you do off the ball, mate. It's all about the pings that you find.
I tried, and I do try.
So I guess let's start, Rogan, obviously semi-professional now, but let's take it back to where you first started in football. How old were you when you started playing?
As soon as I could walk, I was kicking a ball about. My earliest memories of doing something that was like structured was just a local football club down near where we lived, and it was like, it's funny you should say it because I was thinking about it on the way to work the other day, and it's the best because there's no pressures at all. You're just doing it for the absolute love, and it's the little memories that I have. So my dad used to have a bike, and I used to be on the front of it sometimes, and he'd just bike me down to training. And I even remember, like now, I must have been, 5, 6 years old at the time, and I still remember the routine. Every Saturday that I did, I'd wake up absolutely buzzing to go and play, and I'd wake up, watch the Serie A preview for the games that Saturday, go off to training, come back, and always have like food and chill out for the rest of the Saturday. But it was like the best thing ever, and I always remember it was training every week. But then every so often, a team would come to play us. Yeah. And our coach at the time would like throw us, I still remember, blue shirts they were. And they had numbers on the back. And you were just like, that's proper. Yeah. It's got numbers on the back. It's a real kit. Yeah. It didn't matter at that age where you play. You could play on a mud bath, anywhere. You know when you turn up now and you look at a pitch, you start turning your nose up a bit if you turn up away and it's not that nice. Yeah. But back then, but back then it was just wherever, whenever, and it was the best thing ever. Yeah, that's my earliest memories, and it was real good.
It's funny you say that. I remember playing same thing as a kid, and it was always, because we played Sunday mornings, so it was just obviously train during the week, whatever it would be, but the games would be Sunday morning football. It would be Saturday night. You watch Match of the Day. Yeah, get all excited about, I'm going to try that tomorrow. I'm going to do this. I'd be in the bathroom cleaning my boots. Something I definitely don't do anymore. And and then just thinking about, I'm going to practice this, I'm going to do this tomorrow. And then the disappointment in the morning when the game got called off because it was too wet.
There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse. I remember we were travelling to a game when I was playing. This was when I was a bit older. I was about 9, and I had a game for Burwell Swallows, and we had a game against Ely City. So I still remember it like it was yesterday. And it was smashing it down, and it was so cold. But we hadn't had the call to say it was off. And I remember the whole way there to Burwell, about 20 minutes from where I lived, and my mum and dad were saying it just can't be on. Like, we were 9 years old. And I remember sitting in the back, and I just remember sitting in the back going, please be on. If it's off, it's just going to ruin my weekend. Yeah. And it was on, and I remember we were all about 8 years old at the time, and we had boys in tears. It was that cold, but I was buzzing because I played and scored, so it was all right for me. That's always how it was. It was. I just wanted to play all the time. It didn't matter where, when, the weather. You just played, and there's never any pressure at that age. Yeah.
And were you always a midfielder? Do you play centre mid now?
No. So when I was young, I used to score a bit all the time, but I think you do that when you're young, didn't you? Yeah. So I started out as a striker. Had spells down at Ipswich. I went through their development groups. Then I went down to their elite group. And as I was about to go on trial for their academy, Cambridge United showed an interest. And that was obviously a lot easier for my mum and dad, because when you're at these pro clubs back home, it's tough because you're expected to go in 3-4 times a week. And it's not just me doing it, but my mum and dad working both full time. I've got to get me to Ipswich 3-4 times a week. And then if you're late, they're like having a go at you and stuff. So I went down to Cambridge, still a striker. I remember I don't know whether it was a mental blockage, because anywhere I'd been before, I was just like a striker, just scoring goals for fun. Even when I went in with Ipswich, I went in with their academy a couple of times, scored goals, never a problem. And I don't know whether it was a blockage because I had a love for Cambridge United. I just went on a mad goal drought and couldn't score. I remember it as clear as day, and I think, everywhere I've been, I score goals. And I'm only 9, 10, don't get me wrong, but I thought, whatever's going on. And then one day, we were playing Luton Town, and the coach, Nigel, said, look, we've got 2 or 3 illnesses. I'm going to have to play you at left back today. And I've always been the attitude to just be like, yeah, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. Ended up having a good game. And I stayed at fullback for years. And I'm thinking, why did I play well? I should have just had a mare, then I'd have been back up top, because that's where I enjoyed it. But it's things like that. And I've often find with players, when they go to academies, you find yourself being repositioned, because if you're predominantly the strongest kid at your school or your local club, you just get up front, put the goals in. So I was a full-back, and then I went to centre mid when I got released from Cambridge United at the age of 12. I sort of started playing on the wing a little bit. Then I was a centre mid for a couple of years. Got a scholarship at leaving school as a right back. So then I played a couple of years at right back, went back to centre mid. Then I went to Hitchin and was playing on the wing for a little bit. So I've just been...
You've been all over.
I've been roaming about, mate.
Mate, it's a sign of an intelligent footballer. You can play in numerous positions.
Yeah. It's good as well. I think it's helped me being able to do that. I think the only position I've not played was centre half because I'm small. But I did 2 or 3 games. Yeah, I did that last season. So I've just got goalkeeper to go.
You've been with a chance, I reckon.
I reckon so.
Mickey in goal this year. He turns up to all the sessions.
Well, that's it. I've been telling Kenya down at Casey that I want to get a gig for the goalie, but he said I'm too short, so I've got to take it.
Got proven wrong, mate.
I'm ready, mate. I'm ready.
So you got picked up by Ipswich. How old were you when that happened?
So I would have been about 9 years old, I would say, at that age.
And do you know how that came about? Were you aware that maybe they were looking at you, or?
I think what it was is one of the scouts had asked my dad to just take me down to like the lowest sort of level that Ipswich were running in that area. It was in Bottisham, near where I'm from. And I went down, to be honest with you, I remember just finding it real easy, and I was against older kids. It was just sort of it wasn't any sort of level, it was just Ipswich offering training.
Like a community kind of training.
Exactly that, and then within a few weeks, they got me into what was called their development centre at the time. I spent a little bit of time there, and then I got moved into the elite, which is the one just below the academy. Spent a bit of time in the elite, and then was just about to go off for a trial with the academy, but that's when I went down to Cambridge.
And that was, you were still 8 or 9 at that point, or was that
a couple of years at that point? maybe a year or so going through that process.
Cambridge United is your club, isn't it?
I love Cambridge United.
How did you feel when you found out that Cambridge were interested or invited you down? Was that
it might as well have been Man U. It literally might as well. And even when in the future I ended up getting a scholarship at Cambridge United, and that was like the best thing for me and my family ever, because we're all Cambridge United, apart from my mum's from Luton, so I never forget.
Luton Town fan?
She is. We played them in pre-season once, just to tell you a story, and I was playing for Hitchin, played Luton Town, come out, obviously doing your last bits, I'm doing my sprints. I look over, and my mum is in a Luton Town shirt, stood with the Luton fans. So no loyalty there, is there?
Mate, you can't turn your back on your team.
Well, she definitely didn't. So my mum's Luton, but she's got a love for Cambridge. Obviously, she's lived in Cambridge a long time. But my dad used to watch Cambridge when he was a little boy, so. It's a club that we all love. So when you're here, and you're 9, I was mascot when I was 5. I didn't make it onto the pitch. I cried, but
really,
the crowd all cheered, and I was a bit. You know me, I'm a shy lad.
Yeah, mate, you're very shy. I can understand. Nervous.
Yeah, I was, and but it was just the greatest thing ever. It's Cambridge United. It might as well be Real Madrid for all.
So what league were they playing in at that point? At that time,
they were in the Football League. So they would have been what is League 2? I think it was called Division
3. At the time.
Division 3. Yeah.
Seeing this, so did you sign for Cambridge at that point? Is that what happened?
Yeah. So I had the choice to make between Ipswich and Cambridge, and as I said, Cambridge was it was the best for me, so I wanted to do it. And then of course, logistically for me, mum and dad, it was so much easier. Yeah. So I went down there, and the way they used to do it back then, I don't know if they do it the same now, is you go on a 6-week trial. And I went for a 6 weeks trial, and then it was like Judgment Day, where they call you in with your mum and dad.
Yeah, so you're very aware that this is going on, that this is...
Oh, of course.
I've got till this date to perform.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, even at that young age. And went in, they said they weren't too sure, so they wanted to give me another 6-week trial. And it's one of them, El, where you turn up, and all the other boys have got the Cambridge United tracksuit, they've got all the training kit, and you're a trialist, so you don't have any of that. So you're turning up in shirt and tie every week.
Yeah.
So we did that for another 6 weeks. Said they weren't sure, so extended it for like another 3, I think it was. And then I think so I did a 6 weeks, and then in the 3-week trial, about a week or 2 later, we played at Southend. And I played brilliantly, had a real good game, and the coach called me up and said, we're going to sign you, no more trials. And I remember it was just like the best thing ever. Yeah. It was so good.
Yeah, I bet, over the moon, right? So when they tell you they're going to sign you, what happens there? So it's you're on like a youth contract or something, or how does it? Yeah,
so from what I can remember, it would just be like a normal contract. I'm sure there were clauses in it with clubs, so obviously other clubs can't come and take you and stuff. Yeah. I can't overly remember it. When you're that age, you sign a bit of paper, you go and play, and you get on with it. But I loved it. It was real good, because obviously it was Cambridge United, so I was buzzing. I was over the moon with it. Yeah.
So how long did you spend there after being signed?
So I spent that season with them and done really well my first year. Got on really well with my coach, Nigel Hurrell. He's still doing the academy down at Cambridge, I believe, now. Yeah. So, real good bloke, real good coach. Had a brilliant year. Moved to fullback at some point through that season. Second season, I just didn't click. Like the year before, in my first year, I'd gone out to Denmark. We used to do tours in school holidays and that. And I had done well in that tour, but then the following season, I don't know. I think when you're a kid, sometimes you just have to go through phases, and it sounds sort of strange, but I was going through a phase where I'd moved schools, so I'd gone from primary to secondary, and for what you would know of me now, I'm quite a confident, loud, outspoken, get on with everyone type of person. But if you rewind the clock back to then, I was different. Like, for me, I used to have confidence issues with getting on my bike and biking to a new school. Yeah. So it was like I was going through that stage. A lot is happening at that age, you know. Yeah. And it's not an excuse, but I didn't hit it off as well in the second season. And by the end of that season, my enjoyment started to come out of it. And I think when you hit that stage, especially when you're getting to like 11, 12 years old, you're best coming away from it. And they released me, but it was like the worst thing in the world, because I didn't want to obviously be released, but it was actually the best thing for me. Yeah.
So I think there's definitely, you're right, there's a lot of things going on at that age, right? So obviously mentally, going to different schools, socially, all that stuff, and then physically your body's changing, and you know, it takes, maybe you didn't grow too much, I'm not sure. But
I'm still waiting for mine. I'm still waiting for my growth spurt. It can still come, can't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Give me a bit of
sure. Yeah, no, it can. Yeah. But yeah, so you're learning to deal with your body and move it in space again, aren't you? So it's a lot of things happening. So how did interested to know how they handled that, letting you go? Like, was there any kind of support or build up or chat to you about, look, this is what's happening, this is why? Or was it just a case of, look, you're out, see you later?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think football is like that. It is cutthroat. Even at 11 years old, it was as simple as a letter just saying, you know, thanks for your efforts, but, you know, you're no longer required. And it's tough, because I found out, and that's like 2 years before, I'm buzzing, Cambridge United want to sign me. You have visions in your head, you're like, I'm going to go through the system, I want to play for the first team. You're not getting carried away, but you have a dream that you want to go and achieve. And for that letter to come through the door, and then your mum and dad have got to tell you, and I burst into tears. I don't want to play football no more, because you're tender at that age, and like you say, you're going through so much as well, socially and at school and everything. So it was like the worst thing in the world. But my mum and dad, to be fair, my whole family, was support all the way through to this day has been unbelievable. And I remember my dad, me and my dad, he took me for a walk down by the river and just said, look, you know, I believe in you. You've done all this work. You've done this, that and the other. Just because X, Y and Z said you're not good enough, it doesn't have to be the truth. And he put confidence in me, and he took me down to some local clubs, and I signed for Fulbourn Falcons, who were a really good Sunday team where I live. And even then, I'd say it took me a good season to fully get my confidence back. And then in the under-4, so I was there, I got released after the under-12 season for Cambridge, signed for Fulbourn, had an okay season, under-13s was just all right. And then under-14s, I remember I got invited through my school to go for Cambridge and District trials. And I remember turning up on the day, and there were players coming from here, there and everywhere, players that were playing an age group older, so they were seen as the boys that were better. And to this day, something that day inside me clicked, and I was outrageous that day. I was so good, and I felt like nobody on the pitch could get near me, and it didn't matter who they were. And I honestly believe from that day on, I didn't ever look back. I went from strength to strength all the way through, really. So.
And what position did you put yourself in when you went to that?
I was centre mid. Yeah, and to be fair, I was really, really good in trials, so I got in. But I wasn't in the team the first few games. I remember the first few games we went along, and there was other lads in my position that were playing like for Peterborough Academy. I was only for a Sunday league team, effectively. And then I played against Luton, funny enough, their district team, and again, was like I took off. I was playing well for my club, played well, and from that stage, I think 2 games later, I was made captain and played all the time. So it was a good spell.
Yeah, gave you confidence again.
It did. Yeah.
What took you to that club? Did you have friends there? Was there a reason? So made it more enjoyable again to play?
So the lad, my best mate, who I went to school with, always knocked about with, Lee. He was playing for Burwell Swallows with me. We went there together, and he was another brilliant player. He was playing at Fulbourn, so when I'd gone off to Cambridge, he'd left Burwell, joined Fulbourn, and he said, come down with me, and we went down and signed for him. Initially, I'd rung Fulbourn and said that I wanted to go down, but they said no, like, we've got full spaces. And I was set to join for their rivals, or at least go down their training. And then I went for a training session at Fulbourn, and they were like, no, we'll sign you.
Here's the paper. Sign.
Yeah, so that's how it worked for me. Yeah. So, but I'm glad it did, because I've still got mates that I played with then, and it was quality.
Yeah, and are you still in touch with any boys that you met in while you were at Cambridge at all?
Yeah, one was in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's only just gone. He went back home to England, and he's in New Zealand now. So
playing or just travelling?
Yeah. He's playing good level. He was playing for Hawke's Bay United. I think he's just signed for another club down there, but he's doing really well. Yeah, he's Sam Mason-Smith. I keep in contact with him a lot.
Yeah.
I can't think. There probably is someone that I see. Yeah, I see a couple of them on my little football journeys a couple of years ago and stuff, but it's football.
That's the good thing I think about football. It's always helped every country I've been to and lived in. That's how you make your circle of friends, is through football. So I think even it's a great. It doesn't matter what level you play at, that you create these friendships and social circles that normally last with you for a very long time.
I think when you're growing up playing football as well, it's the social aspect that it teaches you. And I'm obviously coaching now, and I'm forever telling parents, like, it's so good. When we used to go training, we had to shake the coach's hand and ask them if they'd had a nice day, and that it was all a process of being a better person, not just a footballer.
Just about football.
So I think football can be frowned upon at times. I feel, especially back home in England, it's like football, and even I had teachers back at school when I was there that used to sort of. Don't get me wrong, some of them were really supportive, but some of them would see it as it's just kicking a ball about. Yeah. But little did they know that some of them were teaching me a lot more than what the teachers were about life in general. Yeah. And when we used to go away to Denmark, 10 years old, you'd have to look after your own passport. Coach would be like, I'm not looking after 20 passports. You have to look after your... But it teaches you, you've got to be responsible for yourself. You know, independent.
Life skills.
Yeah,
definitely. So then you went to this trial. What happened there after that? Where was your next step? And how old were you?
So I got in the Cambridge district. We're playing well for them. Sort of done really, really well actually for them.
And captain for them, is that?
Yeah, I was captain for them, and then I was made captain for my Sunday team as well. And we were like quite dominant. We were always in finals, winning things, winning the league. So it was good fun. And then when I was there at under 16 level, Cambridge come calling again, because after you've done 2 years in the district, they hold trials for the county. So I went down to that, and I was the only player from the Sunday team to get in. The rest were all Cambridge United academy players. Yeah. Luke Berry was in the team who plays at Hitchin Town now in the championship. They're good players. And I was the only Sunday league player to make it into that squad. And I played against Bedford in our first game, and I remember opening the programme and it was all like Cambridge United, Hitchin Academy. It was me at the bottom, Fulbourn Falcons. So I was representing Fulbourn, which was nice. And then I played in the Bedford game, and then after that, Cambridge had said, want to take you in on trial again. So it was like, it had all been changed since I'd been released. It had all changed, like the academy had shut down and reopened.
Right. So new coaching staff.
Everything was new.
They didn't know you. No one there.
No one knew me, because Cambridge had got relegated unfortunately to the conference. So it was a whole different setup. Yeah. It had been started up from new. So they come calling again, and then I went on trial there, and it's a funny time, because under 16s you're then going to see if you get a scholarship for 2 years when you leave school, or you don't. So we had an agreement, or Cambridge and Fulbourn Falcons did, that I'd play for Cambridge and Fulbourn and mix the two, and then they'd give me a decision on my scholarship. Right. But so it was good. It was nice, because I still got to play in like the big games and that for Fulbourn and mix the two. So
awesome. And did you? Were you training with Cambridge at this point as well? So
yeah.
And that was how many times a week?
That was twice a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and then playing on like the Sunday morning.
Yeah. So just evening training.
Yeah.
Do your school, go train afterwards. Yeah.
And then I had a couple of like day releases, so they'd give me the day off school to go and play for like the under 18s on a Wednesday afternoon and stuff, which was. Awesome. Which was good. Yeah. Well, I was just desperate to get a scholarship, and to be honest, I got one against odds really, because I was just a local lad from Fulbourn Falcons playing, and then I was doing well, and all of a sudden, when it's getting within a few weeks, maybe a month, let's say, of when they're going to make the decision, you've got all the players from like when I was right back at the time, got a right back from West Brom coming. That's just been released from West Brom, and I'm thinking, here we go. He goes, I'm thinking, good, right, they've not signed him. Get another one from Leicester City, then one from wherever, and you're thinking, but then I got offered one, so it was like the best thing. Yeah, no, it was good.
Constantly being challenged, you can never settle, right?
Mate, that's football, and I think there's been times in my playing career where it's been comfortable, and that's never ever good. You want people breathing down your back for your shirt. You want people challenging you, and I think the minute you're comfortable, you're never really pushing your limits and that. So it's always been like that, which is good, and it makes it even more of an achievement when I got offered it, and I'm like, well, all these players that have been in like championship and some prem academies, I'm still fending off. It's not too bad, is it?
No, definitely not, mate. Yeah. And so then from there, what happens next? You go into the scholarship?
Yeah, went into the scholarship, and it was good. It was Cambridge United, wasn't it? So it was like being in and around the ground 5 days a week was class. Like seeing the first team, that like I was on the terraces the year before, singing their names, shouting and that, and then I'm getting a little taste of training with them a few times.
With the senior team, with the first team?
Yeah, like look, a couple was in circumstances. You know, I remember I played in a game with the first team just because I weren't in the squad for the youth team the next day. And I remember the first team manager coming up to me and really liked me, and one of the first team players who I like respected a lot come up to me and said, "Oh, are you in the squad on Tuesday night?" Because that's why they were having a game, because they didn't have a game on the Saturday. This was the Friday. And I said, oh, no. I said, we haven't got a game Tuesday. He said, no, we have. We've got Altrincham away. And I said, oh, yeah, you boys have. He goes, yeah, that's what I mean. Are you in the squad? I said, oh, mate, I don't even get a gig at the youth team at the minute, like reserves.
Yeah.
So I was not, and he was astonished. Like, he just joined us from Hull. So he was, for him to play in a game with me and rate me like that was...
Boost of confidence,
them
surely.
little things that when you're not quite getting in the team, the other side help you out massively. So
yeah. That's the thing with football, right? It's a game of opinions. So it may be you could be the best player in the world, and someone doesn't like one little thing about you, and they find every reason not to play.
Yeah.
Which,
It was a real good time because obviously I got an opportunity to represent Cambridge, like in Czech Republic, France, a few countries. Played at the Abbey Stadium, which is like, doesn't matter whether it's youth team, reserves, and not the first team. For me, that's special, and special for my family. But I look back on it, it was a frustrating time as well because the coaches there liked me, and I never had a cross word with them, got on with them real well. But I believed I should have had more opportunity. And I'm not saying, if I had I'd have gone on to do this, that, and the other. But when I look back on my time there, I should have been given more of an opportunity. I was doing the right things. The reason that they give was for me physically, whether I'd be able to cope with it, but you've got to be given the chance. If you're playing well enough, you need to be.
Well, I think England also had a big thing about the size of the players as well, right? For a long time, that you had to be big, you had to be tall, you had to be 6 foot, you had to be a mountain to be any good at football. Which I'm sure there's a lot of players now who've proven that. Yeah,
of course. Right? And I think for me, like, as you played with me, I'm not the quickest, am I? So I think if you're small and you're not quick, you're up against it 100 times more. But I believed what I was doing. I was playing better than people that were ahead of me at times, and it was frustrating. And then I started my second year in the scholarship, and the coach at the time said to me that he wanted to give me my chance. I remember we all had individual meetings. He said, this pre-season's your chance. If you want to make your shirt yours, you do it. And I'm always cool with that, because then if I don't take my chance, then that's my problem. Yeah. So when I get to the end of pre-season as a right back and I've had 45 minutes at left back, I don't see that as a chance being given to me. But I think as well I was a bit nice. So when I was that age, you don't want to speak up, you don't want to say too much, do you? But really and truly, after that pre-season, when I've been doing well in my first year and showing promise, I should have been bashing the door down saying, look.
I think that's a big thing as well. I've always been that way, where don't rock the boat, just get on with it. And the more in your head you're like, no, I'll just prove them wrong and they'll see. But a lot of the times they don't, and you notice that the players around you who do get the look in are the ones that are kicking a fuss, knocking down the door. You know, it's because they're the noisy ones. Yeah, of course. So of course. I think you're right. It's like you say, when you're that young, it's hard to. You don't think that, do you? No. It's only looking back that you're like, should have. Because it's now,
It's tough as a young player, because you have to take what they say for gospel, and you just get your head down, work hard. And I think even at a first team, a senior level, when you move on and you play, if they've got it in, if you're an easy option that you can drop someone and they're not going to kick up a fuss, I do believe managers do that. I do believe they go, they're going to kick up a fuss.
Exactly, who's the easy one to drop?
They just have it in their head that you're not. So if I could turn back to, I don't live with regrets. It's not the way I choose to live my life. But if I was to go back, I would have been knocking on the door more and just saying, look, I'm doing. I used to look round in training and think, he ain't putting what I'm putting in. He's not doing what I'm doing. And I'm not saying I was the best player there, because I wasn't. But I worked extremely hard, and I'd earned a shot, a chance, more of a chance than I got. I played games here and there, but in my opinion, looking back,
weren't given enough.
Not enough, no.
Yeah, fair enough. So then, assuming from there, you got released from there?
Yeah, you get to the end of the 2-year scholarship. Obviously wasn't offered a pro, I never was going to be, I hadn't played enough, to be honest. So then I ventured into the semi-pro game, back home, signed for Solom.
How old are you at this point? This is 18?
I'd have been 18, yeah, full set of hair, mate.
Yeah, don't believe it. Mate. Don't believe it. I want to see the pictures.
Yeah, well, I've got a few. So,
semi-pro, just started semi-pro. 18 years old. Which team was it again? Remind me.
Soham Town Rangers.
Soham Town,
yeah, the Greens. Yeah.
Cool. Which league is that? Where do they keep playing?
So that's step 4. So it was like the Ryman North or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. So just under the conference, which would now be Conference South. Then.
And then there was another league,
yeah.
and then another league. That was the one that we were playing in. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it was more just a taste of getting a feel for men's football, really.
Yeah.
Senior football, you've done youth team bits and bobs here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good. It was a learning experience for me, and I went back to centre mid. Started pre-season as right back, obviously just straight from Cambridge. Went centre mid, and done well there. I had a bit of a learning curve in my first few games. I got picked up 4 yellow cards in the first 4 games. But do you know what it is? Yeah, I'd spent all my life.
Was it shouting at the ref?
No, not even. A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I don't think that helped.
Yeah.
But it was. I think it was just 2 years of frustration and every time I sit down in meetings at Cambridge United, you're a great player, great attitude, this, that. If you were 6 foot, you'd have a pro contract on the table. That's what they'd say to me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice to hear, but then it's horrible to hear because I'm never going to be 6 foot.
Mm.
So it's like
something you can't control, right?
I can't do nothing about that.
Yeah.
So I think I went into men's football and I thought, all right, cool. Well, if I'm not physically big enough and I was playing against these big blokes, I thought, well, if I go and kick them, then that was my response. And
yeah.
It's really strange because I know I'm not comparing myself to Roy Keane at all, but I saw a quote from him and he'd had exactly the same. He'd spent his whole time growing up playing football, everyone telling him he's not big enough. And then obviously we know what Roy Keane was like. He was kicking people. And I think I'd read that a couple of years later after I'd gone through that stage. But, it's still in me a little bit now. But, you have people that want to call you small, tell you ain't big enough and that. And when you start kicking people about, all of a sudden it's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that was my way of dealing with it. That was the way of getting my frustration out. But it was a learning curve as well because 4 games in, you're on 4 yellows. And manager's calling me in, telling me, what you're doing, you're going to be suspended more time than you are playing. So I had to, channel it. Because whenever it spoke to me about it, it was never, we want to take it out of you. It was like, we want to keep it in you, but channel it, literally, yeah. So that was a learning curve, but it's,
How did you feel coming from, like, obviously being released, then going to that team? How did you feel? Were you like, had it affected your love for football, or you like, kind of sounds like you're on a mission just to prove them wrong, or was it like, right, okay, it didn't work out before, I got another chance this time, I'm going to do it again, or did you think, right, that's it, I can't make it anymore? What was the?
It's a strange one because I think of all the players that I've played with, there's such a mixed response when you get released at that age or at that stage. Some go, I ain't gonna make it. Some say, right, I'm gonna prove people wrong, I'm gonna still do it, I still pursue my career and stuff. The only feeling I ever feel was a bit gutted that I couldn't do more at Cambridge United, the club I love, of course. But I remember just feeling relieved. Like, it was like the weight of the world was off my shoulders. Like, no one else to tell me you're great, but you're physically not. And I don't mean that with any disrespect to my coaches at Cambridge, but as a player, I'd just become sick of hearing it. Like, I'd just become sick of hearing, if you were 6 foot this, I'm never going to be. So it was nice to get away from that and just go somewhere where they were like, yeah, good player, you're going to play for us, and it's going to do you good to play first team football. So it was a nice feeling. It was a getaway, I think.
Yeah,
it was good.
And semi-pro, you'd have been picking up a little bit of money as well. Was it? You don't obviously have to tell us exactly what it was, but when you're 18 years old, is it just like, here's a bit of pocket money, petrol money?
Yeah, it weren't a lot, but it was. But you're doing something you love, so if you're picking up a little bit of money, I think it was similar to what I was getting at Cambridge. It was all right. Like you're picking up a bit of money and you're playing.
It beats having to pay your subs on a Sunday morning to play, right?
Yeah. It's football, isn't it? So you don't, like, at that stage, I don't even think I ever remotely thought too much about
Didn't care.
money.
It was
just first team football and enjoying playing every week. Like, I like that. I like the pressures of, like, you need to perform. 3 points are on the line.
Yeah.
That was my first real taster of that, which was good. So.
Did they have a big support? Was there like a following for them at all?
Yeah, it was a little following. So it's like Soham's like a village, you know. But there was there was some games where I remember we played Hitchin down at Soham's place, and there was a fair few there that day, and there. I would say they had a big following, Soham, but the people that follow the football there are passionate, and they're top people. They really are. So it was enjoyable. I really enjoyed my time at Soham. Yeah.
And how long were you there for?
I was there for about a season and 3/4.
Yeah.
So just towards the end of the second season, I moved on.
Right, to what happened?
Mildenhall, a club, a league lower. I'd just sort of, do you know what? I'd gone a little bit stalemate, really, and I think the club, not the club, but the team had at the time, and change of manager and stuff. Well, the manager still liked me, but it had just all gone a little bit stale, and they were struggling, and I felt like I needed a move. I needed to move on, and if I'm looking back, I probably should have done a little bit more to have a move the other way rather than dropping down. And I mean that with absolute no disrespect to the team that I did join, but when I look back in hindsight, maybe it weren't.
Didn't help you personally as a player?
I just think that I could have just been a little bit more ambitious, a little bit more at that age, still young and doing all right. I was doing all right, and I had a girlfriend at the time who lived near that team, and that sort of played a part in
convenience a little bit.
Yeah, and then when I look back now with a wiser head, at that stage it's not about convenience. Probably it's about probably still trying to kick on a little bit, you know. But I think, like you said, you touched on it earlier. Like you do go through them times. You're like, well, I ain't gonna be a pro now. I ain't gonna do this, but there's still a lot to achieve. Well, look where I am now. I'm looking at the beach over there. So and the only reason I'm doing that is through football.
Yeah.
So it's like you can feel like that so easily. Feel like I'm done at football. Right? They said no. So
yeah. Well, I think that's. I mean, I don't know for other countries, but coming from England, for me anyway, not even aware about opportunities elsewhere in the world. So you don't think about it. You do think about convenience, play with friends, drop down a level where maybe like I'll become a bigger fish in a smaller pond type of thing. It'll be easy for me.
Exactly
that kind of thing. Whereas like you say, there is so much actually out there that if you are willing to push yourself, knuckle down, and focus on it, it actually can take you, around the world really.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course, definitely. Which is, like you say, loads of people don't realise that.
Yeah.
But there's a whole world of opportunities. Yeah. But you live in a bubble, you live in a tunnel, and that's what
especially England, because you just think, got to be Premier League, best league in the world. And you look at the pros at the top level. There's not many English that go overseas to play it.
No, there's not
at that level. And I think if there was more, it would probably make it the rest of the country more aware about.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I think it's probably happening a little bit now. But when we were younger, maybe not.
It's true.
So so you went to, what was that team? Sorry,
Mildenhall. I joined. Which was again a real good club, local club, but and the people there were great. I had a real good time there. Got on real well with the manager, real top bloke. Yeah. So I don't want to sound disrespectful when I say I don't think that was the right move, but I think for my progression as a player. But I had a real good time there. I had a laugh and stuff.
Good. Yeah. So. And how long were you there, and then where did you go to?
So I got injured. I tore my calf, and then at the end of that season, I decided to move on to a team called Hitchin Town that were the same league, but a little bit more. What should I say? A bit bigger following. Get 200-300 through the gate at the time. Nice new stadium. Doubled my money. Made it worth my while. Yeah. Paid me a good wage, but that turned. Again, I look back at Wisbech now, and great club, supporters, I had a real good connection with them. But it was a disaster for me, really, if I look back at it. And it was a strange one. They were pestering me all through the summer, ringing me, asking me to go down there, really keen. I went down there, enjoyed it pre-season. They seemed to really, really like me. And then the manager was probably, out of all managers that I've played for, the person I've got the least respect for.
Is that right? Yeah. What happened?
If somebody tells me that I'm not a good enough player, or if they tell me to my face that I'm not performing or doing what they want me to do, no problems with that whatsoever. But when people are dishonest, when people look at you in the eye and tell you something and then go and do something different, complete opposite. And you know, I don't want to come on here and look, I don't know who's going to end up watching this, but I'm not one to come on here and say anything bad about somebody else. But to summarise, Wisbech, I was playing and doing really, really well there. It was very, very cliquey. They had their, I'm from about an hour away from Wisbech. They had their boys there that were playing central midfield. Started playing me on the wing. I wasn't really a winger. I was saying to him, look, if you want to get the best out of me, you're paying me good money. I've started the season really well centre mid. What's happening? Yeah, you're playing. You're really important. Blah, blah, blah. It's fair enough. Got my head down like I've always been. Worked hard. Done this. Before I signed for them, I said, look, everything seems brilliant, but I don't drive. So it was me and my mate who signed for them. He was their top scorer that season. Real good player. Dubio Buona. We signed together. Neither of us drove at this time. And I said, that's going to be a problem. That's the only problem that we can see.
Yeah.
No worries. Get to this station. Someone will pick you up. We'll help you out. That's what we're here to do. And then obviously for games, like my mum and dad would go to the games anyway. So we'd just go in with them or my brother. But for training, we'd be committed to get to the trains here and there. Obviously, when people say that to you, and then 5 or 6 weeks into the season where it's cold and dark, no one wants to pick you up from the station. You're going, well, I'm not going to get the train there and just be left at a train station then, so I'm not going to go training. And me and Doobie used to stay, and we used to go gymming near where we live.
Right.
We'd say, can anybody pick us up? Everyone would say no. We'd say, well, we can't come then. What we're going to do, we're going to get to a station and be X amount of miles away from where we're training. We're not going to get there. We don't drive. We said this at the beginning of the season. And then we had a big game in the FA Vars away at Gornal. And I always remember the travelling support was brilliant, really, really well supported. We got there, I wasn't in the team when I believed I should have been, but weren't going to kick up a fuss. And I still remember to this day that the assistant looked at me in his team talk and said, I know you're going to be disappointed you're not in the team, and you could probably argue the case that you should be in the team, but we've got a big game against CRC, which was the youth team of Cambridge United, at the Abbey Stadium, at Cambridge United Stadium, on Wednesday. He said, we're going to need you for that, you'll be starting that. So in my head, I'm gutted I'm not starting the cup game, but I'm thinking, well, I'll be playing at the Abbey Wednesday, so I can kind of do your thing.
Don't mind as much.
They lost the cup game. I think I come on for about a minute, touched the ball once. So no blame of that loss could be put on me single-handedly. We left that. Obviously, the FA Vars, you get prize money. I think they'd lost their budget a little bit. Monday morning, I get a call and he tells me that I'm no longer needed. Release me, release Doobie, my mate, who was our highest scorer, top scorer, so he was banging in goals every game. And the biggest reason I have no respect for him is because he come out in the papers and basically just slated me. Said that I weren't a team player. Said I'd never turn up to training, didn't want to train. He's looking out for the best interests of the football club by getting rid of me and Doobie. We're not the characters that they need at the club. And we all know that was just because we'd not gone through in the cup, so they didn't get the prize money, so the budget was being cut, but they didn't want to be honest as
they didn't want to say that, right?
As a club or a manager. But if you're willing to throw me under the bus and portray me as something that I'm completely not, to cover your own side, I've got no respect. And I walked out and that was it. I picked my last wage up and didn't feel bad for it at all, and walked off. And I'm not really like that. I'm not a bitter person, and to be honest with you, I know I sound like I'm slating him a little bit now, but I don't wish anything bad on him. He's out of the game now, and it's probably no coincidence that he's out of the game now if he's treat people like that, because it'll always come back to bite you on the bum. But I've no respect for someone who wants to treat me like that. I wouldn't treat somebody like that, so I don't expect the same back.
So how did that affect you? Moving on? Did you Was that it for a minute, or did you go and join straight to another team?
Do you know what? I had a real funny spell because I got released from there. Then I split up from my girlfriend, which was when you're that age and it's your first relationship. You're a bit like it sends you on sends you on a wobbly one, and my confidence was just low. I just no confidence with anything I did. So I was working, and then I always sort of admired Hitchin Town as a club, and I remember their manager sort of liked me when he'd played against us for Solom and said I was a good player. So I rung him up and he said, yeah, come down for a trial. And I said, look, I don't want, not the pressures, but I said, I don't want you to think that I'm coming down there and, you know, I'm wanting answers straight away. I said, can I just come down? I respect you. Can I just train for a month, get myself fit, get myself enjoying it again? He's like, no bother at all. The first night I was invited down there, I just bottled it, didn't go down there. Told my mum and dad and my brother, if they watch this, they won't know this till now. I told them that it got called off and it hadn't. Like I just had no confidence, mate, and I just thought, nah, I left it. And
was it fear to step back out and play, or
everything,
what?
Mate, everything that was going on. Like you go for a step 5 club, no disrespect to that level, but you know I'm not doing very well here. I've been released by this club. This hasn't worked out, and then things away from football weren't working out. So you almost feel as a person you just like everything you touch is failing.
Yeah.
And then and that's how I felt. So I bottled it. I just said nah, again. And then the next week I told my older brother Scotty that it was on, and I think he kind of sensed that I was going through a tough time. He said, look, you got training. He said, I'm coming to watch. I'm coming with you. I'll give you a lift. I said, yeah, cool, right, okay. And then he made me come, but his car broke down that day that he was meant to be taking me, but he hopped on the train with me, so that was class of him. And then I trained one night, and it was the best. Like it was 2 leagues higher than what I've been playing, so the players were better, and I just enjoyed it, and it was the best night ever. Like, the players around me probably didn't realise how much I actually loved that. And then after the first session, Carl goes to me, can I have a chat with you in my office? I said, yeah, cool. Went in the office, went in there with my brother and that, and he just said, are you about Saturday? We need you in the squad. And I was just like, yeah, happy days. And then I barely even cared about the money. Like, I took less than what I was on at Wisbeach, so it were 2 leagues lower, but it honestly didn't matter. And I come on at the weekend at that level. That was the highest that I'd played at the time. And then for the rest of that season, I played for Hitchin, and I just bided my time. I was coming off the bench a lot because I hadn't played that level, and then got a deal for the next season, and then it was class, and I loved Hitchin. Hitchin's real good non-league
What
club.
league's that? What?
So you've got your conference, north and south.
Yeah.
And then the one below that.
Underneath that. Okay, awesome. So you were there for another season? Yeah.
Yeah. So I finished the season when I got released from Wisbeach. Then I went there, finished the season there. Was making like sub appearances.
Centre mid.
Winger. Mainly on the wing. Yeah. I was mainly on the wing, and then started the last 2 games of the season. Played really well. Gutted because the last game of the season the manager come in and said he was resigning. I was like, nah, it's going to be back to square one. But fortunately, the first team coach moved into the manager's role and knew me and rated me.
Yeah.
So I signed on for the next season and was doing really, really well. Flying. The pre-season was doing real well. Started the season was again doing well, picking up man of the matches and that, enjoying it. Quality bunch of lads, some good banter down there, and
makes a difference, doesn't it? Having a good group 100%. Of guys that you're playing with, make it enjoyable.
Don't get me wrong, they used to rip me to shreds, but
half the fun.
Quality bunch of lads, and then I moved to Cyprus halfway through the year, so it was like everything happened in a short space of time, and all it was is I'd got a job because I was moving away from that age where I was just living off my little bit of semi-pro money and doing a bit of coaching here and there. I needed to get a substantial job. And the only sort of job that could work around football that I could get at that time was night porter in a hotel in Cambridge. And then my form just went down. Like, I weren't feeling energised. I was kidding myself really doing that job and playing at a good level at the time.
So you'd work, like 9 p.m. to...
Yeah, through
So-
to the morning, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was tough. Like you used to get fatigued, and then you got to go training, and it's your body clock's all over the place. But then on the weekends, you're trying to get it back to normal because you're playing at 3 o'clock, and even the sound of that now, it just sounds stupid, doesn't it? So
It sounds horrendous.
yeah, it was, and my form dipped
Yeah.
naturally. So then, and the manager was chatting to me. He was going about this job, and I was going, I need it. I need the money, this, that, and there was all sorts of problems. And then my brother Scott, he said, "Oh, I've seen in the non-league paper they're doing pro trials out in Cyprus. You should have a look." And naturally, when you're working through the night, you're almost like just sitting there a lot of the time. So I said, I was at work, I flicked on the computer, saw it, put my details in, I thought, oh, I'll apply for it. Never expecting to hear back, thinking probably get hundreds or whatever. Next day I get a call, and yeah, they were interested, wanted a reference, give them a reference, and the next thing they're inviting me over, like to Cyprus for a trial and that. Like you pay like a subsidised amount and this and that and
Right.
go over there. Went over there for a week, trained, got offered like a pro deal, like I say a pro deal, it was like full-time deal, wasn't on great money, but it
Yeah.
was money that I could live on. They give me
Yeah.
an apartment.
Right.
I went to a really nice restaurant every day and got food for free, so it was like a nice little deal for somebody
like a package.
that's 21, 22,
Yeah.
you're trying to... And I loved it out there, but and I was, honestly, I was flying. I was doing so well, playing really, really well.
What league was that?
So that would have been... You've got like the Cypriot top division,
Yeah.
and I think there's a couple below that.
Yeah.
And I remember getting signed for them, going down to training and thinking, easy.
Yeah.
Because I was worried on the way there.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't know what to expect. I don't know what Cypriot football's like.
Yeah.
Easy. And then a couple of weeks, I was waiting for an international clearance and the transfer to go through. And then I was training, I was on fire, and I was thinking, it's easy. I was going to watch games and thinking, not in a big-headed way, but in a way of thinking, I could push on here, you know, I could do something.
Yeah.
Couple of weeks in, like, clubs from the top league, like with, I'm talking not like big stadiums, were like wanting me to go down pre-season if I'd performed for this club.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing it like, keep my feet on the ground, of course, but this is an opportunity where I can really, it's my chance to kick on.
Yeah.
And it all fell through. I was at training one day, flying. I remember just being so happy. And when you looked over, it's a bit like this, honestly, this view where you're training, you see the sea, and I was like, it's hot all the time. Like, their winter's not hot, but it's lovely weather, and I was loving life. It was the best. Cooled down. Got called in, to the owner's office. He's like, I've got you a ticket here for 2 days' time. You're going home. Transfer's not gone through. There was complications with it being, if it was an amateur transfer, that would be okay, but it goes through as a pro transfer because I was being paid by Hitchin.
Right.
So there's complications there, and then with visas, and that hands down crushed me. You couldn't have took someone from like such a high point and just in one sentence moving that ticket across the table, and it was just, I remember just trying to plead with him, saying, look, can't we do something? These windows closed, we can't afford to have you living in an apartment paying you a wage. As much as we love you, we can't afford to do that. You've got to go home. And it was like the worst thing. And I remember getting back to my apartment where I was staying on my own at the time, and I just had my head in my hat. I was just like this, and I honestly don't think I moved for about 2 hours. I missed dinner and everything. Like, it was like, because I used to go down to the restaurant with a few other boys, and it was like
devastating.
Devastating
news.
You had like, I went for a walk later that night, and I weren't crying, but I was just tears in my eyes. Like, it was crushing. Like, and for me, and I had to ring my mum and dad, and then it was embarrassing because it had been in the papers back home. Rogan McGeorge, pro deal in Cyprus, got an opportunity. Everyone knew I was leaving. Obviously, I'm leaving too. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm coming back. And
how long were you over there for? What's the period?
In the end, I was only over there like a matter of a month, maybe two. Like, not even long, to be honest. But it was brilliant. It was class. It was good. But it was like, I remember making a phone call, and as crushed as I was, trying to sound positive to my mum and dad, because I just didn't want them to be like, don't know, disappointed in me.
Yeah.
Even though it weren't my fault, like, they were so buzzing for me. Is think, like, it sounds stupid because I know it ain't true, but you just feel like you let him down. You're just like, I'm going home, let him down. And I tried to stay positive on the phone, and I remember my dad going to me, what's going on, like, you know, and I didn't have the answers almost, and I felt as crushed as anything, and I haven't really ever spoke about that probably as much as what I've just then, about how much that affected me, because when I come home I just wanted people to be like, I didn't want people to go on about it, and then people to know how gutted it was. I didn't want to be like, I just wanted to come home and be like, oh yeah, it's one of them things, it happens, move on, but actually inside it killed me. It was horrible. Like, look, there's people in the world that go through really tough things, so I'm not crying a sob story, but there's things that are important to you in life, and I feel like that was an important part in my life where I was really starting to become happy after some rubbish times back home, and then for it to be gone like that, it affected me.
Well, I'm sure if it's come out of nowhere as well, right? You're playing well, training well, people are talking to you from bigger teams interested in you, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere it's just all taken away from you, so it's understandable, right? And I think it's all relative, like, you know, and yes, everyone else is going through bad things as well, but it is, like you say, it's relative, and there was somebody that was helping me because obviously they speak Greek over there, so he was chatting, and I was saying, well, just speak to the bigger clubs, get me over there pre-season, let me train with them, but it wasn't as simple as that. If it was, it would have been alright, but it's never that simple. So you were doing that on your own, you didn't have an agent or anyone like that? How did that work?
There was a guy, he called himself my agent, but I'm just Rogan McGeorge, and I just playing for a couple of €100 and an apartment. I wouldn't really say I had an agent, but I'm not.
But someone helping you negotiate the deal?
Because obviously I didn't know the country, I didn't speak Greek. I could say hello and that was about it. I went in the shop one day, said hello to the shopkeeper, and because I'd said it in Greek, she went off for about 5 minutes. I said no, I had to stop. I said, I don't know a clue what you said.
Sorry.
When you said hello back, that was fine.
That was it.
But that's where it ends. But that was a funny story from Cyprus.
So all right. So how old were you then when you came home?
22, I think I was.
Okay.
Yeah, 22.
And obviously come home devastated.
Yeah.
Football wise, what's going on?
They were just starting the season, and so the first time I come back, they were just ending their season. And I could have gone back to Hitchin, but then it was like embarrassment. It was like all the supporters had wished me well. Everyone at the club had wished me well. And there's like, I felt embarrassed to go back. It was, as much as I loved it at Hitchin, I felt embarrassed. So I joined the local team, Newmarket Town, where Deeks was playing. So, and loved it. Like, we won the cup against all odds and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just a good time, and I just loved it again and had a real good time till the end of the season, so it was good.
And that's in terms of levels, where would you have been for that?
So that was 2 leagues lower than where Hitchin were, so back at that Wisbeach, Mildenhall level.
Cool. So that would have taken you, 23 is that at this point? 23?
Yeah, I would have been 22, 23 around that age.
What happens next?
So then I moved on, I left Newmarket, I went back to Cyprus for pre-season, just to see if there were any clubs.
With the same team? Or?
With the same company that I went out there with. But nothing really come of it. And then there was visa restrictions with players over 23. Guess how old I was, 23, you know. So it was like, and I just thought, right, done with this, go back home. And then I joined Histon, went on trial there, had 2 brilliant years there. Great club. Played for Brian Page, who's in Finland now with one of the top teams there. Unbelievable coach. Brilliant bloke. Love playing for him. Love playing for the club.
Taught you a lot, or what was it about him that you liked?
His coaching was second to none. Learnt so much off him, the way he coached. Even like now in my job, little things that he did, like it's just class, mate. Just class. And then like I think me and him were like we were proper similar. Like, we were both skinheads. That's one thing. But no, on a serious one, like, we were just similar. Like, he had that switch where he'd switch, and you see how much it meant to him. And but away from, I never did. But I think if I'd have had problems away from the pitch, I would have been able to go to him and just And he just had a way, certainly with me, where I just felt... The best way to describe it and sum it up is if you'd have said to me before a game, you'd have gone, right, run through that brick wall. Camera's gone to sleep.
It has,
fed
man.
up of...
Sorry, mate. Go on, carry on. Right, yeah.
Yes. So we did well in the first season. I was there to stay up with a young team, little budget, and then the second season, Bry, the manager, he left about halfway through, and I think there was things going on at the club and changes and things with the youth system, what he used to do as well. So it made things a little bit difficult, and then I think getting rid of him was wrong. I think if we'd have kept him, we'd have stayed up.
Yeah.
But we ended up going down, unfortunately, because we had a young team that he knew and that he'd got together. So I wish that even if that him and the club had parted ways, I wish they'd have left it till the end of the season and left them in that league. But fair play to him, he's gone on to big things in Finland and he's doing well there, and I couldn't be happier for him, because he's one bloke that me and him had arguments in terms of football in the change rooms, but it was never personal. Like, it was just us trying to do the best for each other and the club, really. So, yeah, he was quality.
And you still keep in touch with him, do you, as well?
Yeah, the odd time, yeah. Like, not much really, to be honest with you, but on Twitter he'll message me, and when he saw I was coming out here to coach and play, like, I hadn't spoke to him for a while, but he messaged me, and you can tell he was like genuinely like pleased and buzzing and wishing me well, and I do for him. I try and keep up a little bit with what he's doing and stuff from time to time, and he puts bits and bobs online, so it's good. Yeah, it's
good. Awesome. So from there, what happens? Where'd you go?
So from Histon, I joined St Neots. So we went down, unfortunately. St Neots come in.
Same
so
league.
that meant staying at that level where we'd just been relegated from, which is what I wanted to do. St Neots, really good facilities. Andy Davis, is Jay's dad, was the manager.
Right. Oh yeah.
Which is a small world.
So,
so I knew of Jay, but Jay was here.
Yeah.
And
so this you would have been how old at this point?
I would have been 25.
So like 3 years ago, pretty much.
25, 26. Yeah, it must be. It must have been 25, 26. I think. Yeah. Andy rung me, and I didn't really know Andy. I just sort of knew of him through the football world. I respected him. I'd watched things that he'd said on post-match interviews for St Neots before, because I love football. I'm passionate. I still follow all the non-league clubs back home now, all of them. And I hope they do well, all the ones in and around Cambridge. Yeah. So I knew him, and I respected like what he'd done. He's, again, similar to Bry, like he's coaching. I've nicked some of Andy's drills now as well. I do his, and he's pretty much family to me now. And Jay and stuff, like what he'd done for me was class. So I went there, joined there for him. Started off really well pre-season, was doing really, really well, and then got a knee injury that was just niggly. I was playing through it, but Andy was class through that whole process. He was brilliant. He was really, really good to me, really supportive, so I ended up being injured. Andy left the job through that first season. I was injured. The chairman there was... This is a tough thing, I think, about being a part-time player back home, is I put my body on the line. I tried my best for every single club that I played for, every single club. I got injured playing for St Neots. Andy left. I was just there sort of loitering around, getting treatment, trying to get back fit, not really knowing what's wrong with my knee.
Would they have proper setup, physio?
Yeah, they did, and it was just a weird one. The physio just didn't really know what was the problem with my knee. Then I was going through, shall I get a scan, shall I do this? Then it was all right for a week, but then it'd blow up. It was a real funny injury. And then caught wind that the chairman had said, well, what's wrong with him? Is he going to be playing any time soon? If he ain't, get rid of him, because we don't want to be paying his expenses to come to the club and get treatment. And you're like, when I caught wind of that, to be honest with you, I was like, well, I'll go then. Yeah. Like, if I'm going to put my body on the line for this football club,
and they don't want to know you once you're injured,
and I'm injured, and I'm an inconvenience for you now. Well, I'll stop being an inconvenience for you, and you can carry on doing what you do.
Yeah.
Which I think is poor, and again that gets my back up a little bit, because when you try so hard for a club, and I'm no superstar, I'm definitely not, but the one thing I try and give to every club that I play for, when you pull your shirt on, there's people, it doesn't matter whether there's 10, 30, 100, 200, 2,000 people there. They're there paying their money to come and support their club. You've got a duty to give your best for that, and I've always tried to do that. So when you turn around and you're injured, and I'm as frustrated as anyone, I don't want to be sitting in the physio room, trust me. So when I'm made to feel, oh well, what's he doing? We're paying him X amount because he's only getting treatment. Well, I'd rather be getting my full amount and playing. Believe me, you know. So then that done me head in a little bit. So I left and joined Stamford, that were a league below, but real good setup down there, and played there for the rest of the season.
So that would have taken you to like 27, 26, something like that?
In and around that age, mate. In and around. And it must. Well, I don't know, you know, because I've been here nearly a couple of years. It must have been in and around
25, 26.
Yeah, we'll say that.
It's close enough.
I think I was 26. I think so.
Close enough.
I'm useless with times.
Mate, it just gets worse as you get older. So you're playing there in League Below, playing centre midfield for him again?
Playing centre midfield, playing through injury and doing well, man. I was playing good, picking up a lot of man of the matches, enjoying it down there. And I was playing through injury. Mate, I would play games and just be, I'd be like, I'm 60, 70%, but getting like, picking up MOMs, I'm thinking, this is positive, I just need to sort out my knee. And like some nights couldn't train properly because I'll be thinking, right, I'm playing Saturday, but I'm still doing well, so I'm thinking, get it sorted and I'll be flying. I wanted to stay at Stamford, and I went and got like an ultrasound scan on my knee, and they just said it was built up fluid. I had to be in a knee brace for the whole of summer. And they said, even when you're coaching, you're not allowed to just pass it back 5 yards.
Right,
You just got to leave it to settle.
But you could stand on it, not crutches or anything, but just...
Stand, walk, but have a knee brace where it's restricted movement, and it was just like that the whole summer. And to be honest with you, Al, like, this is poor on my part. I put weight on, went back in pre-season, not in good shape, and then I was still struggling on my knee because it was taking time to rebuild, and it was down to me, mate. I put on weight, and then Stanford basically sat me off, and it was a bit disappointing because they'd said they were going to give me time, and I've done well for them previously, so but then I can't point the finger, mate. If I'm turning up X amount overweight, then it's my problem, innit, mate? So,
How did the move come around to find that club? Is that something that I
played against them, for St Neots in the FA Cup.
So they're approaching you?
So they approached me because they liked the look of me when I played against them. So it was good, and that's how that.
So to have that, and then ask you to leave almost or whatever.
And I had the ump a little bit at the time, but I think the injury was just frustrating me, but. You know, again, wise ahead on my shoulders at this moment in time, I probably didn't. I didn't do myself any favours turning up pre-season overweight. Simple as that. And to be honest with you, through that season, just struggled with fitness, struggled with my weight, struggled with my mentality. Struggled.
And the knee was still an issue, or
bits and bobs. Like, it was never really right, and I'm thinking, is it ever going to be right? And this and that, and
were you working hard, like physio-wise, rehab-wise, or was it just I deal with it as and when it comes up?
I was managing it, but then there's like, how long do you manage it for? And I joined a club for a guy, Peterborough Sports, they were, Jimmy Dean. Again, somebody who I just had loads of respect for, just the way, like, he's got morals. And I think in the past I've had people, you know, they chat to your face and say one thing, and then, but he's very straight down the line bloke, and I like that. And in the end, it got to a point where I was playing there. I'd done really well in part there, but then there was times where I weren't giving anywhere near what. And I was coming away from games there, and I'd go, imagine if I was properly fit, what I could have given to that game. And I think that's a horrible feeling. Above anything, when you're playing football, at whatever level, I suppose, when you come away and you think, I could have done a little bit more, or I was unable to do this. And that frustrated Jimmy, rightly so. He's a manager, and he's got promotion since I've been here, and he's being successful with them now, so it's fair play to him. He was becoming frustrated, which is rightly so. He's a successful manager, wants success, and that then led for me being frustrated. So we both had a phone conversation and agreed that it was probably right for me to move on and stuff. And I 100% saw it from his side, and he saw it from mine as well. So it was nice to move on with respect. But at the right time, I moved on. So then I moved back to Newmarket, who I had a spell with when I come back from Cyprus, because I just wanted to fall in love with it again. Deeks was down there, and I'd probably say hands down, that was the worst time of my footballing, which is mad because I had a load of friends there. Yeah. Load of friends that I like.
What was the reason for that? Because of the team before, like
nothing to do with that. Right. Nothing to do with the team before. It was. Do you know what? I played a couple of leagues higher, and then I went there and I had a feeling with people, even people that were kind of like my mates. When they used to chat to me at Newmarket a little bit, they used to chat to me as if, not I thought I was better than that, but as if I was like, I was better than that. I know that don't make sense what I've just said, because I've just said the same two things. But if you get what I mean, there was almost like a thing where people had a perceived image of me that I thought they were lucky to have me. But it couldn't have been further from the truth. I was just a lad that wanted to play there. I was struggling with injury, just needed to get fit, needed a run of games.
So they made it not very welcoming for you? Or?
Not in that way at all, because they were my mates and they were like a ledge bunch of lads, quality bunch of lads. I couldn't speak highly enough about them. But it was tough. I found it tougher playing that level than I did the 2 leagues above. And I don't mean that disrespectful to the level, but when we were at Newmarket, there were times where someone would go and press and I'd be saying that's not right, and then I'd go press, and then it was all, there was no
cohesion,
there was no thought
process.
Knowledge. And when the manager, and I love the manager to bits, still chat to him if I go back home now, and I've got respect for him as a person, but in footballing terms, I didn't know what I was doing when I was going out there. And I like to know my job.
Organisation.
Give me a job,
right?
give me a role, and I'll go and do it. And the manager and the assistant never worked together, and the assistant used to say things about the manager when the manager weren't there to the players, and I'm just not about that. And when I'm in an environment where I feel like it's not being done properly, I'm probably not going to get the best out of me. But the biggest thing about that time for me was I never wanted people to think that I thought I was better than anything, because I don't think that I'm better than anything ever in my life, in any aspect of life. When I play on the pitch, I have an arrogance.
It's important as a player, right? You've got to have that.
I have a swagger, I have an arrogance, I have this because I believe I need it. And especially being a 5'6" midfielder, I need it. You know. But away from the pitch, it's completely like, it's just non-existent, that arrogance. It's just something that when you go out and play, again, whatever level, you're there to perform. It's like a bit of an act. You become something that you're not. You get that.
Got to get your game face on, isn't it? It's like a mentality you have to have where you step over the line, and it is like you take no prisoners. You know, you become a different person. Like we know a few people like that. Adam, for example. Off the field, lovely guy. As soon as he walks on the pitch, you can't say anything to him.
Me and him had a fight at training last year. But like, I love the boy to bits. But that's the where you're in that moment. You care. And the amount of people that I've met, to say we're out having drinks and they've gone, you know what, when I played against you, I thought you were the worst bloke in the world. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, but you're actually real chilled away from it. But it is just like you're two different people. But so for me, if I went out there and was the jokey, laughy rogues that I am away from the pitch, I wouldn't get very far, would I? You know, it wouldn't really be, it wouldn't work. So that was my most disappointing part about Newmarket, because they were my mates as well. So like, they're people, like when I say mates, I don't go out with them every weekend. They don't know me inside out. So when I want them to have a perception of me, I don't want them to think that I think that I'm any better than any of them. I was one of them. There were boys in that changing room that have played higher than me, done more than me in the game. So there was no ego coming from my side, definitely not. And I don't, you could probably chat to a few of them boys now and they'd probably be like, nah, what's Rose on about? But you know when you just get that feel sometimes, and people might think that just because you played a bit high, you've dropped down, but it weren't like that. And then I weren't performing, so I didn't want them to think I weren't performing because I thought that I should be playing
big time.
And I just weren't. I was rubbish.
Yeah.
In my spell at Newmarket, in the second spell, I was rubbish, and I hold my hands up to that. Really, over the course of
fitness would have been an issue there, right? Mentality,
overweight, mentally couldn't get through it. I was bad spell for me.
Yeah,
bad spell. I hold my hands up.
Yeah,
really. Bad spell.
And did that? What happened then? Did you stop? What's the move from Newmarket?
It was going terribly up, and then, and then I think what done me was the assistant manager, and I don't think the assistant manager changed, and it is someone who's played at a good local level, and he turned around to me at half time on game, and I honestly thought we were that much better than the other team that all we needed to do was just get it down and knock it about and play. And we needed a calming influence in the team for just someone to get it down, knock it about and play. And that's what I thought the game needed. So I was getting my foot on the ball, trying to relax it.
Yeah.
We're coming at half time, and I've had many and many tell-ins off at half time, but he looked at me and said something that I just thought, nah, that's not me. And he said, you think you can come here and swan around the pitch like that? And it weren't. I genuinely weren't. That weren't in my head. It was, as I said, I thought we were on a nice pitch. We were on a 3G pitch where we were playing. It was so frantic. The first 20, they went 1-0 up, and in my head, it just needed someone to go, right, I'm going to put my foot on the ball and knock it about. And it was seen as swanning about again. That perception that I was already paranoid about.
Yeah.
And I said, that's it. I said, this is enough. I'm not playing well. And I actually thought I played well that night. That was the most damaging thing. So,
do you think there's a difference because of the level drop as well, that definitely like that, right? In the lower leagues, it's a lot more frantic, chaos football. It's not so controlled. You don't dictate the pace of the game very much, do you? Did you think there's an element of that because you were coming from maybe a higher level where it was more controlled, and you're thinking the right things, but the rest of the team aren't on that same page, so it's misinterpreted that a little bit? Yeah,
I think spot on. I think you go into games in the levels higher, and it just seems a bit more using your brain. And there's no disrespect for that lower level, because there were some class players that I played with. Stephen Spriggs, who played like Conference North and that, been over in Sweden and played. Like, there were players in there that were good players, and even the lads that had played that level, they're good players. Like, but the style of play in that league just weren't for me, I don't think. I found it that spell. I just found it so tough. I really did. I used to go in games and it was tough. So I had to make a change, and then I rung. I actually messaged him on Twitter, Ricky Maheineke, again another coach in the Cambridge area. I just, from the outset, I'd always played against him, his teams, and I just had respect for him. Like, and when he's interviewed on the radio, like a level-headed, honest person. That's probably the biggest thing. And I messaged him on Twitter and just said, can I come down training and get fit? I'm not fit. We only train once at Newmarket, and that.
And he would have known you at this point. You're connected on Twitter, or you just randomly?
He knew me. We used to chat at games when we used to play against each other and that. And a few of my mates were playing for him and stuff. So he knew me. We knew each other like well enough and that. And he was like, mate, you're more than welcome. And I was like, right, when your next training? And sums Ricky up. He was like, just make sure your Newmarket manager knows. I don't want him to think I'm inviting his player.
Yeah.
So I told Newmarket I wanted to get fitter and train more. Went down to St Ives, and even training was proper training, not like, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but training was an actual proper session. So you go through phases of different things, and then you go into a phase of play, then a game, not just a couple of little things, then just a game.
Play the game. Yeah.
So it was like proper, and I enjoyed it that much, my first session. And then it was a bit deja vu, like Hitchin. Like, Ricky called me over at the end of the first session. He said, what's the plans? He said, are you genuinely here to get fit, or do you want to sign? I said, mate, I just explained it really in a nutshell. I just said, I'm having a horrendous time. I said, if you want to sign me, I will sign now. And he said, well, look, like, I know you've been at Stanford, St Neots, and that probably won't give you as much money as what you're on there. It's funny because people have an image of what you're on.
Yeah.
And I just said, what can you offer me? He told me, well, I said, done. Simple as that. It was less. It was less, but not a million miles. I was more than happy. Yeah. Trust me, more than happy. It was like £20 difference between what I was getting Newmarket. I was like, let's do it. And then I made my debut that Saturday for St Ives, and from that moment, went all the way through and ended up getting the Player of the Year for them. So it just shows you how in the Players season, where I'm having the worst time that I've ever had, to getting Player of the Year and only being there half a season, is like, it can change just like that.
And a lot of it, or do you think some of it is coming from the fact that that first team where you felt that people were like judging you and you know, oh, he thinks he's a big I am, so you've probably got that subconsciously in your mind. Where you go there, you feel wanted because they've tried to sign you in your first session. Probably takes a bit of that. You're free to express yourself on the pitch a bit more. Do you think? Yeah,
definitely. It's a strange one with the Newmarket, going back to it and what I thought people perceived me, because I don't think they ever showed me too much or made me feel like I thought I was big time. But you know, there's certain things that are happening at the club where you feel like not anyone in particular, but the general vibe is that I'm like that, and I'm like them worrying. Am I giving
You're
off
probably
that
overthinking
impression?
Things, right?
Exactly that. But so I went into St Ives, and honestly, the best bunch of lads, the funniest card school on the way to away games, like just brilliant. Like, it was class, and they were struggling at the wrong end of the table as well. But we got some real good wins, pulled it together a little bit towards you know, and then we had a pile up of fixtures at the end of the season, so we were almost rotating teams. But I loved it, and if it weren't for then getting the opportunity to come out here, I would have signed back there in a heartbeat. Right. Ricky, again, another manager, along with similar to like Andy Davis and Brian Page, just like class act. And I didn't really mention Berkey at Hitchin, but Berkey's like class act. Yeah. Like them four managers there were the ones like.
And for you, that's because you learnt a lot from them. You just connected with them better. What's the reason for that?
I think all of them, coaching wise, were class. Like, well, Ricky didn't overly do loads of coaching. It was more his assistant. But like, again, similar to Bright, like, you never wanted to let Ricky down. Like, you know, we had a couple of games where we lost, and you get in there and he'd come in and have a pop at you, and then sometimes not have a pop at you, just give you the talk, and he'd walk out and you think, you know, there's some managers and you just think they're doing a bit wrong and they're not looking at themselves, and there was times where Ricky was looking at himself to him, I'm thinking, we've let him down today, you know. And I even think I piped up in one of these talks after a game, so we've got to take some responsibility here as well, you know. But you hated letting him down, but he was just a great bloke away from it, and then loads of respect for him. And I was gutted that I had to stop playing for him to come out here, but obviously I come to Australia.
So how did that come about?
Andy Davis, Jay's dad. Obviously Jay's out here, so we had links with Jay. Yeah. Altona City were looking for a centre mid. He recommended me. Initially, I was at my mate's wedding, a lad who I went to school with. He was getting married, and I got a message. He goes, "I've got a deal in Australia waiting for you if you fancied it." And I just started, like, my business, coaching business back home was just sort of going, and I thought, nah, like, it ain't for me. But then, like, a couple of weeks later, I was like, nah, actually. But I was scared because of what happened at Cyprus, and I was like, I can't go out to Oz and then fly back. Can't do all that again. Can't do all that again. But then I had a conversation with Altona City, and they said they needed a centre mid, wanted to get me over, and then I just thought, do you know what? I'm literally at that stage now. What would I have been? 26 when I come out here. Just turned, but 26 I was. And I was like, if I don't do it now, then I won't do it again. I don't think I won't do it. I don't think I would have done it after that. So, and my mates were just like, look, Rose, just go, man. Like,
you can always go home, right?
Realistically, I was working back home, and I'd been working with Cambridge United as a coach, doing every hour God sent for peanuts. Then I was setting up my own business, which was tough.
Yeah.
You know, it was the up. And I thought, do you know what? Like, living at home with mum and dad, which is all right, that's fine. But then I'm like, I need to go and push on, and I think maybe this opportunity is the one for me. And I just went for it.
Yeah.
I just thought, I'm just going to go. But it was weird because when I'd agreed to do it, I'd wake up one day and I'd be like, yes, I've made the right decision. I can't wait to go. Wake up next day, what am I doing? Why am I going to leave all my family and that? It was like mixed feelings.
Was that because you're going so far, or because of the Cyprus thing? You're like, like the undertones are really, look, I've done it once, I don't want to do it again, or is it more because it's the other side of the world?
Yeah, I think a bit of both played a part.
Yeah.
And then obviously I loved my job. So I worked at Great Wilburn Primary School, teaching all their PE. I had my holiday camps that I'd set up from scratch with Charlie Brown, one of my mates back home.
Yeah.
And he's still doing a ledge job with a business now. I was like, but if I leave that, everything just, your whole head goes into overdrive. You start overthinking things. But honestly, if I could take myself back to that time, there's really no overthinking needed to be done.
Yeah, well, it's always hindsight, right? You know you know what it is now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Did you do any research before coming out? Like, did you know much about Australian football?
I didn't. I'd done a little bit of research here and there, and
obviously Andy probably would have told you something via Jay, right? Maybe.
Yeah, of course. So I was, bless Andy, I was ringing his phone every night. He probably got sick of me asking different things, different questions.
Wish I never gave him the deal.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. No, but he was class, Andy, and like I said earlier, him, Jay, and that they're family to me now, and he was so good, so comforting, and without him, without Andy, I would not have made the move. I would not have made the move. And being out here, obviously Jay is like my brother. Without him, I wouldn't have survived out here. So that's why, I don't say that lightly, but they're family to me. What they've done for me, 100%.
Yeah.
He don't want to go away, does he?
He doesn't. He's annoying. Yeah. So you got some good support, which I think helps. Obviously, moving to a new country. I've done it a few times and not known anyone or many people when you get there. So it does help having someone to. Yeah. Same for me when I got here. I had one friend that I'd made when I lived in Portugal actually. So that helps having that support. So when you get here, you've got somewhere where show you around and all the rest of it. But football very quickly then. For me anyway, your social circle then grows, and that's for me. It's all been mainly through football, and like maybe the job that you go into once you get there. But definitely the football circle for me is it's helped build that social circle.
It does, definitely,
So you come out, you go to Altona City. Yeah. Is that they've helped you with accommodation, with work, with what's the deal? Was it just a case of coming and play, you sort yourself out?
A couple of things that was in the pipeline for when I got here didn't quite work out. Look, that's life. That just sort of happens. So they sorted me out accommodation when I first got out here and stuff, and then I obviously knew Jay through Andy. Got to know Jay really, really well. And he was living with Max, another good friend of mine that I met here. I ended up moving in with them initially for a couple of weeks, and then it got to about 8 months later, and I was still there. I was a bit like Uncle Albert on Only Fools.
Yeah, were you on the couch? Or were you on
I was doing a bit of everything. I was on the couch at first.
Sounds like me. That's exactly what I done.
Yeah. But I think that's a common theme because everyone that I know, you go through that stage, and it's tough when you first get out here because you're sort of you're not settled in. You're other side of the world, but you'd be surprised how when you get past that little bit of difficulty and you start making friends and you've got all them little connections, how things fall into place. And I even now, because I drive past where I first stayed, even on the way here to see you. Yeah. And it's just like, man, you go, a year and a half I was doing that. I would have never ever believed that I'm doing like a full-time job now, playing at a club that I really enjoy, living the life, experiencing all the things I'm experiencing. It's brilliant, but you would never guess it when you first get here. You're just like trying to muddle your way through it.
Very much so. And it's all brand new, isn't it? And you're I think you definitely made a good point. Is like everyone goes through that period of like you're so far from home. Yeah. completely different routine, which is always a tough thing to get around anyway, and then missing certain people, family members, friends, all the rest of it. And I know for myself, I had a similar thing where I was taken to New Zealand, and then things didn't work out how they were meant to work out, and you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I here? You know, about to throw in the towel, come home, and luckily for me, I had a friend in Melbourne that, so I got off the plane and fell in love with Melbourne, and so glad it's the best thing I've done. But and
look at you now, mate. But you wouldn't expect that, would you?
No.
If you'd have gone back to that time where you're New Zealand, you're popping here to see your mate, and then you go X amount of years down the line, and you're like, oh, you're here now. It's class.
You set up life, you know. It's been a great move for me. So definitely life changing. And it's making the most of it, right? Because it could have been very easy for yourself when things didn't go right, or myself when it happens that you go, do you know what? I need to be safe. I'm going back home again. And none of this would have happened, which, you know, it would have been missing out on a lot. So
definitely.
It's just being brave in those moments, I think, and knowing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And got to push through.
Of course.
So so you played Altona City. That's State League One.
Yes,
right?
I did. Yeah.
Standard of football. What do you think it compares to back home?
See, that question gets asked me all the time, but it's so tough. It is, because what I find here, is like, I played both State Ones, and you'll get the top teams where you're thinking, well, they'd be this league back home, and then the bottom leagues, you'd be like, well, they'd be all the way down there. So there's like quite a range in the leagues. What I played, I know they've been rearranged for this season, but you know, it's tough to say actually, like what it would be compared to back home. So I've give up on trying to compare it. But I remember it being like quick and frantic here. I'm thinking, blimey, you know.
Chaos football, very much so.
Definitely. But I think it took me them 10 games that I played for Altona City to just get my bearings with life here and the football. And then by the time I'd left Altona City and joined Casey last season, I was like settled and ready, much more ready, you know, without... There was, like you say, you get it, you don't realise, you're on the other side of the world, everything's changed. Your football team, your mates, what you're eating, everything just changes.
Like everything.
Everything changes. So you've got to settle in, and it don't matter how old you are, you've got to give yourself time, haven't you?
Definitely. And I think the point as well about the league, like you say, you can have like ex-pros in that league, so guys who may play at the professional level, very good and can still play, but then at the same time you might have some guys who are, you know, they're probably punching above their weight being at that level. So it's a bit of a strange league, but quite a competitive physical league, I think.
Definitely. So
you moved to Casey, and that's where you are now.
So I am.
Done one season there, one best and fairest, or player of the season. Back home.
It's
a good season for you.
It was. I was chatting to my mum, because I've visited home recently, and my mum and dad, and I think, and this is like disregarding football and everything, like in anything you do in life, the bottom line is, like I said to my mum the other day, and I think it's a real good point, so I'm going to share it with you. But if you are, everyone in the world is different. Everyone's got different interests. Everyone's got things that they do. Some people like to sit down and read books, that makes them happy. I don't. I'd rather go out and do something. But the one thing that I think everybody in the world's got in common is everyone wants to be happy. There's nobody in the world that don't want to be happy. And there's been times in my life where I'm not depressed, but I'm just not happy. I'm just existing. You know, I'm just there, and I'm not really happy. Like I am, but I'm not. It sounds weird, but here and like last year, I was just happy. Like turn up at Casey, I was just happy, just have a laugh. Like, you know what I'm like. You play with me, I come in, I love having a joke and a laugh. But then when I get out there, it's business time. I want to train hard, do this, that, and the other. Play. I want to win 100%. But the bottom line is, I think the reason for why I was successful and won players this and that and had a good year myself was because I was just happy with everything. Like just life. Just had genuinely much happier.
Once you're happy in your head, I think you play a lot better, right? You've got less worries, and you're free to express yourself a lot more.
Of course.
So and then Do you think that, like, also, is there a part of it that it's a fresh start as well? Like, how do you feel about that? Did that feel like, for me, it felt like that coming over here was a fresh start, and whatever happened in the past, you can leave that behind you. And now it's like, you know, I guess some people do it quite well where they are and just reinvent themselves and, you know, don't care about that, but some people struggle. Maybe, you know, oh, I can't do that because that's not how people see me, you know, that's not me. Whereas, so maybe not true to what you actually want to do. Whereas when you're here, no one knows you. You can do whatever you want, and you can be whoever you want to be when you first start without that worry. Did you ever have any of that?
Huge. Massive for me, I think. Yeah, like, when you're back home, and I'm talking probably more football circle now, play for a few clubs there, people are like this, had a bad spell there, people might judge you on that. So you do get that feeling of here. You're just like, so I remember beginning of the last season, I was like, no one here knows me. No one here knows me. They're going to judge me on this season. So what's stopping me just going and playing and just enjoying it and doing whatever? It's like a fresh, like I said, clean slate. You just do, you just go again. It's a refreshing and an uplift, that feeling of, you know, because you think I've lived in Cambridge all my life, bar that little tiny spell, which was virtually a holiday in Cyprus. So everyone knows you. Everyone knows
your history,
what you've done, previous this, done that. No one can do that when you're here. So that's like a nice feeling for me. Like I didn't have a past here. It was just me, and you judge me on what you see now.
Exactly.
So, it was nice. It was good. Yeah, definitely.
I had the same thing, mate.
It's a good feeling.
It is. I think so. It kind of frees you, right? Free to go again. So which is good. So you've signed for Casey again now. Obviously, pre-season coming up. Big season ahead, you think? Like I said, made some good signings, it looks like, at the moment, right?
Made some strong signings, and the club, the biggest thing for me that made me re-sign was the sign of intent. And now, look, you can't ever be silly and make big judgments on anything, but they're doing things that are showing signs of ambition, and that's what I wanted from this season. I had a club call me, and it's funny because when a coach or a manager rings you, they quite often think that you just want to talk about money. And I asked them the question of what the club's ambition was, and it was like he was surprised to hear that I'd asked that.
That you weren't chasing just the money.
I weren't just bothered about the money, but I want to be successful. So for me, last year, like I look at last season's, you know, or this season's just gone. And I like won awards, and I've done all right individually and played sort of well, but like Casey as a club didn't achieve last year, and probably didn't achieve what they should have, in my opinion, and had people there that were letting them down. So like I don't see that as a success. I want to be around people that are hungry to do well, and not there to just, you know, it's a very strange industry, football, where if you want to be successful, you've got to have a little bit in you that's got a bit of fight. And I think, you know, you was there with me, but at Casey last year, I felt we could have had a few more that were a little bit like me, not in terms of ability, but in terms of didn't mind upsetting people. Where I think I was a bit of an outcast, and I think I rubbed a couple of people up the wrong way because they didn't like that. And I think that's a bit of a cultural thing, because in England it's like the norm. That's the culture. You tell someone if they're not doing something, you tell them. And sometimes on a football pitches, you know, it's not going to be, oh, Elliot, next time can you? It'll be, and I'd expect the same back to me. And I felt that's the way it went at Casey last year a little bit. I was that character. We could have done with 2 or 3 more mixed in with other, because we had good players. I mean, you look at, you know, yourself, Deeks, when he's on form, is unstoppable at that level. And, you know, it weren't a successful season for us as a club. So that was my main ambition. I mean, we've signed Cookie, my mate, who's played at Preston, Green Gully in the past, who's class at. But he's got that winner's mentality. Like, we used to play with him at Altona City, and if he's losing in training, he's losing his mind. But that's the type of people that I want to be stood in the tunnel with before the game, going out in there. because I know that it means something to him to win. So
that's it. Someone who cares, right? That's what you want.
Yeah,
factor,
definitely.
And not just there to make up numbers, pick up paychecks, all the rest of it.
Yeah. So I think the ambition just attracted me massively, and then the fact that I was settled. And I think I needed that at this point in my career where I've moved around a little bit and I've done too much moving around for my liking, and some of it's been circumstantial with injury or, you know, clubs getting rid of me because I've been injured or they've not been impressed, or I've gone back overweight and I've got released. So I think this time of the season, this time of my career, I feel like the most important thing was a bit of stability, and I'm happy at Casey. I love the people behind the scenes there. I love the club. I feel at home there. So why change that? Well, you know, let's do it again this season, but hopefully go one better and be successful as a team.
Yeah, it is a good club. That's why I was there for so long, 6 years. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because, the fans, the committee, and everything. It's good.
It is.
Yeah, it was always a good club. That's why I enjoyed it there. And so. With Australia, just to touch on it though, from a money perspective, what was your thoughts about kind of? Well, I'm sure yours is very different to mine. You're a very wanted, sought after player. So, but were you surprised at the level that you're playing at, the kind of money that does get offered and get thrown around? Was that compared to what you would get back home for that level?
Mate,
what's your
compared to what you get back home?
Yeah,
to here is just like
chalk and cheese.
And the thing is, like, if you're doing well here, clubs will look after you that bit further, and you'll get your money. And, you know, if you need a little bit of something here and you're away from home and you need this, and we'll give you this a bit up front. You know, sometimes you play at England and you pick up peanuts for what you're doing. The travelling, you don't do anywhere near the travelling here. All your games are in Melbourne, in distance. Back home, you travel 5 hours to play at Truro.
Yeah.
Pick up your paycheck, and they're making you feel like you're robbing the club. That's the difference for me. Like, back home, it's always like, you get paid this, that, and the other. You not even get, like, you work out what you go training. Yeah. You travelling here, there, and everywhere. For you do it because you love it. Of course you do. Yeah. But for what you're actually doing, you're not getting that. Like, I don't know where to get the
money, right? Yeah.
You're not. If you're doing it for the money, you do something different. Yeah. Believe me. Yeah. So. Here the difference was you get paid a lot better, and you feel a bit more free. You don't feel like you're robbing the club. You're giving them a service. They're paying you to do it, and that's again I suppose at all levels. If you play for a Premier League team, you're paid. You do a service, and if people aren't happy, they tell you, and if they are, you get a bit more. And that's the way it should be. But it's like that here, and you know I've been at Casey a year and that, and I get better than what I'll get back home. 1,000,000%.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's obviously part-time semi-pro football. So you're training twice a week, which is evenings, which allows you to then work during the day, right? Kind of you're supplementing your wage, or gives you a chance to earn a little bit extra. Yeah. So you're coaching now, obviously.
Yeah, coaching with Sports Star Academy, loving it, you know, and even there, like. The whole thing just ties in together. The football, the playing, the coaching, and I'm really enjoying that. Get to do a bit of everything. So I'm doing the real small ones. Yeah. Then I'm doing the elite, and enjoying it. And then here your lifestyle's just more relaxed. So then you work hard, you do your sessions, and then in an evening, if you want, you just go down the beach.
The beach, mate.
What more do you want, mate?
Well, I won't keep you inside for much longer, mate.
No, I've been looking out there the whole interview. So if anyone's wondering, it's beautiful out there. It really is.
Yeah, let me out. Come on. It is. I'll finish, I guess, 3 questions. Really. So first one is, what's your favourite memory or your best memory you have of playing? And it could be from, 5 years old, your dad taking you to training. It could be to last season, the worldie of a goal you scored against Richmond.
I didn't want to bring that up. I didn't want to bring it up.
We're featuring for it,
mate. Or it would be one of my earliest memories. Like do you know where you just turn up, right, and you're already in your kit, you get out of the car and you play down at Fulbourn Falcons and just memories like that. They're just so special to me, because you don't realise in that moment how special those moments are. But I'd have to say, even though it was for like the Resis, the youth team / reserves, scoring at Abbey Stadium, mate. The boys took the mick out of me because I'm wheeled away, mate. I've got the badge. I'm away to my family. Giving it, yeah. There's no one. There's just my family up there. But it was the best moment ever. And the boys were class with that because I got ripped to shreds. Which if I was them, I'm getting it. But they were class, and but they just did. They were like, Kane was like, I've got players there from like Nottingham, Norwich, and like, see this geezer like kissing the Cambridge United badge. But that was it.
It's your club though,
mate. Best moment of my life. That scoring at the Abbey, mate. The Cambridge badge on. Don't matter who it's for.
Could have written it better.
Could have been for the under-9s, mate. I'm still Alan Shearer in it.
I think that's the last time I scored. All right, well, opposite end of the scale. What's your worst memory, or what's the lowest point in your career?
Probably at times like little spells where second spell at Newmarket, turning up overweight to Sanford, and then not feeling like I've not let myself down, but let my mum and dad down. So like my dad, who took me out hours on end, taught me everything, how to eat. My dad's 60 plus. He goes to the gym and he's in quality shape for his age. And I think, how can I, who wants to go and get money off a club, turn up to pre-season at overweight? Like, there's just no excuses. So like them little moments where you look at your mum and dad, the main ones, and me brothers and sisters, but my mum and dad that have been there, that do everything, and they have done everything from right when I could walk up until now to support my football. And you look at them and you go, like, I probably haven't, it hasn't been said, and they would never say it to me, I don't think, in part, but where you look at them and you just go, you know what, for everything they've done, I've let them down there, which is why it's nice being here, and I feel like I went home to visit them, and I feel like they're proud of what I'm doing now. So, but that's the worst, when you feel like you let your mum and dad down when they've done so much. Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure they're proud of you now, mate. And would have loved you. It was a surprise visit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a surprise. My mum, she was cooking. I walked in the kitchen.
Really? Tears?
There was tears. Yeah.
That's awesome. She'd have loved it.
She did. Yeah.
Well, last question there, mate, would be, what would you, if you could do one thing, if you could tell your younger self one thing from now, what would that be? If you could go back in time and tell younger you.
To believe in yourself more, and back yourself, and take in everything that every coach gives you and everything like that, and get your head down and work hard, yes, but just to believe in yourself a bit more. Like, you don't know your limits, and then do everything you can. Like, I think there was stages, and important stages in my career where I probably just didn't believe in myself enough. And again, I'm not sitting here saying if I had believed in myself I'd be playing blah blah blah, because I'm very blessed to be living the life I'm living. I'm very blessed to be, and I'm over the moon and I'm happy. But if I went back, I'd probably just believe in myself a little bit more. Yeah, like, don't always look at other people when I'm in their pro clubs and think, he's up there, and because it's probably not the case. Back yourself. Like I do now. But I'm 28, I've been there, done it, So when you're 28, you know the ins and outs of the mentality of the game, everything. But if a 28-year-old Rose could tell a young one, it'd be that. Just have that swagger, have that arrogance, believe you're good, on the pitch, that is. Awesome. And then when you come away from it, have a laugh.
Just be,
like I do, mate.
Yeah, mate, like you do, mate. Awesome. Thank you very much, mate.
No,
have a good season, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you for your time.
Cheers,